French soldiers marching to their deaths, not against the Germans, but by their own commanders' orders. April 16, 1917. The bloodiest mutiny in French military history begins with a promise that will slaughter 187,000 men in 3 weeks. General Robert Nivelle stands before his staff, maps spread across polished tables, and guarantees victory within 48 hours. 10,000 casualties, he says, maximum. The Chemin des Dames ridge will fall, the war will end, the Germans will break. He was wrong about everything. 1 million French soldiers already dead by early 1917, 306,014, 334,015, 287,016, 121,000 in the first months of 17 alone. Out of 20 million males of all ages in the entire country, the math is cold. 1 in 20 French males dead or dying. The trenches are graveyards, the hospitals are morgues, the nation is bleeding out. Nivelle's record should have warned everyone. Verdun commander, hero of Fort Douaumont, the man who stopped German advances with concentrated artillery fire. But Verdun was defense, Chemin des Dames is offense. Different war, different rules, same arrogance. The general promises breakthrough warfare, mobile operations, rapid advance. Classic military theory applied to modern battlefield. One problem, modern battlefield kills classic military theory. Machine guns kill cavalry charges, artillery kills infantry advances, barbed wire kills breakthrough dreams. French military doctrine in 1917 still assumes Napoleonic warfare. Massed infantry, concentrated firepower, decisive battle, quick victory. The Germans learned different lessons: defense in depth, elastic response, strategic withdrawal, tactical flexibility. They prepare for the French to learn the hard way. If you value documented World War I history like this, subscribe. It's the best way to support our work. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. This script is researched and factual, using sources from Yale University Press publication on Louis Barthas, eyewitness account, and War on the Rocks analysis, published April 17, 2017. Now back to the information. Nivelle's plan is madness dressed as strategy. Break through German lines at the Aisne River, advance 4 miles in 2 days, capture Laon, split the German army, win the war. Simple, clean, impossible. Intelligence reports showed German positions hardened beyond anything seen before. Machine gun nests layered in depth, artillery pre-sighted on every approach. Underground bunkers carved from limestone. The Germans know they're coming. French intelligence fails completely. Aerial reconnaissance misses German preparations. Prisoner interrogations provide false information. Radio intercepts are decoded incorrectly. Maps show outdated positions. The attack plan assumes German weakness, where German strength concentrates. The French army planned to field nearly 1 million men in the battle, including 10,000 Senegalese infantry and 20,000 Russians. Division after division masses behind the lines. 4th Army under General Antoine, 5th Army under General Mazel, 6th Army under General Mangin, the largest concentration of French firepower in the war, 1,200,000 shells stockpiled, 750 artillery pieces positioned. Victory seems inevitable. French logistics strain under the preparation. Railways overloaded, supply dumps overflow, ammunition stockpiles exceed capacity. Medical facilities prepare for promised light casualties. 10,000 beds, enough for Nivelle's estimate, not enough for reality. German preparation tells different story. Crown Prince Ruprecht organizes defense, multiple trench lines, concrete machine gun positions, underground shelters, protected artillery, reverse slope positions invisible to French observation. The trap is set. French confidence ensures German success. April 15, final preparations complete. French soldiers receive additional rations, clean uniforms, fresh ammunition, letters home, last confessions. They know something big approaches. Few suspect how big, none imagine how deadly. April 16, 0530 hours. 1,200,000 French shells open the bombardment. The heaviest artillery preparation in French military history. 7 days of continuous fire. Shells fall like steel rain. The earth shakes for miles. German positions disappear under smoke and fire. This will work, the generals whisper. This has to work. But something is wrong. German counter-battery fire is too accurate. Their positions survive too well. Intelligence failed to detect the new defensive system. Defense in depth. Multiple trench lines. Machine gun positions in concrete bunkers. Artillery positioned on reverse slopes. The Germans aren't just waiting. They're ready. French artillery doctrine assumes visible targets. German positions are invisible. Shells waste on empty ground. Counter-battery fire silences French guns. Artillery preparation fails before infantry attack begins. The The plan collapses before the battle starts. 0610 hours. The creeping barrage begins. French infantry leave their trenches. 4th Army under General Antoine. 5th Army under General Mizelle. 6th Army under General Mangin. 120,000 men advance across no man's land. They sing the Marseillaise. They fix bayonets. They charge German wire that should be destroyed. It isn't. German wire remains intact. Artillery missed the targets. Explosions created craters, not gaps. Barbed wire tangles thicker than before. French soldiers become trapped in metal webs. Perfect targets for German machine guns. Death comes in systematic waves. The Germans waited. Their machine guns survived. Their artillery remained intact. Enfilade fire from concealed positions. Plunging fire from reverse slopes. Interlocking fields of death. French soldiers fall in windows. Companies vanish in minutes. Battalions cease to exist. The wounded crawl back through mud turned red with blood. Of the 128 tanks deployed in the Nivelle Offensive, 52 were destroyed on the first day. French armor burns on German wire. Infantry attacks continue without support. Machine gun fire cuts down advancing soldiers. Artillery shells crater empty ground. The breakthrough becomes a slaughter. Colonel John Fabry, our 4th Colonial Regiment, writes in his diary, "Advanced 200 meters, lost 400 men. No fuel. Hold." His regiment started the morning with 830 soldiers. By evening, 320 remain. 51% casualties for 2 football fields of ground. Similar losses everywhere. 37th Division loses 62% strength in 4 hours. 15th Colonial loses 78% in 2 attacks. 103rd Regiment ceases to exist as fighting unit. Individual companies reduced to squad size. Individual squads reduced to individual survivors. The offensive continues. Day 2, Day 3, Day 4. Nivelle demands results. His generals demand attacks. French soldiers climb from trenches and die. The same hills, the same wire, the same machine guns, different men, same death. Weather makes everything worse. Freezing rain, sleet, snow, mud everywhere. Soldiers slip climbing hills. German observation, perfect in clear weather. French movement visible for miles. No surprise possible. No advantage gained. Captain Henri Desagneaux, 159th Infantry Regiment, records the scene at Craon Village. Bodies everywhere. French uniforms mixed with German. Some moving, most still. Water red in the shell holes. Count impossible. German counterattacks retake half the captured ground. French reinforcements arrive to find positions they were sent to relieve no longer exist. Medical services collapse under casualty load. Hospitals overflow. Surgical tables operate continuously. Morphine supplies exhausted. Doctors work without sleep. Nurses collapse from exhaustion. Ambulances run empty routes because wounded die before evacuation. The Senegalese tirailleur attack hurt by his farm. 800 men advance. 73 survive. They hold the ruins for 6 hours before German counterattacks push them back. The farm changes hands 4 times in one day. Each exchange costs hundreds of lives. By evening, it belongs to the Germans again. Senegalese casualties exceed 80% in first week. Colonial troops used for impossible missions. European commanders sacrifice African soldiers first. Racism and military incompetence combine deadly. Heroes die for cowards' plans. Russian forces participate in their first and last French offensive. 2 brigades attack German positions at Corcy. Initial success turns to disaster. Russian casualties exceed 40%. Survivors refuse further attacks. The revolution spreads to France through shared trenches. Mutiny becomes contagious. Russian Revolution influence spreads through French trenches. Soldiers share revolutionary newspapers. Political discussions replace military briefings. Class consciousness replaces national loyalty. International revolution threatens military discipline. By April 21, 5 days into the promised 48-hour breakthrough, French casualties exceed 60,000. The wounded fill every hospital from Reims to Paris. Ambulances run in continuous convoys. The dead lie where they fell. German positions remain unbroken. The ridge stays German. The war continues. Casualty evacuation breaks down. Too many wounded. Not enough vehicles. Not enough medical personnel. Not enough hospitals. Wounded soldiers lie in open fields. Rain fills their wounds. Infection spreads. Death comes slowly. Lieutenant André Pizarre writes to his father, "We advance to die. They know we advance to die. We know we advance to die. Nothing changes." His letter is found in his pocket after he dies, attacking the same machine gun position his company attacked the day before. Letters home become death certificates. Families receive final words from sons who knew their fate. No illusions remain. No false hopes survive. Death comes honestly to those who face it. Lies come from those who order it. Nivelle orders fresh attacks, more men, more artillery. More promises, Reserves pour into the meat grinder. 46th Infantry Regiment, 18th Colonial Regiment, 5th Division. Each unit advances, each unit dies. The objective remains unchanged. The cost keeps climbing. Artillery ammunition runs low. Shells rationed. Targets selected carefully. But careful targeting requires accurate intelligence. Accurate intelligence doesn't exist. Artillery wastes scarce ammunition on empty positions. German positions remain untouched. Weather turns worse. Freezing rain. Muddy trenches. Soldiers slip, advancing uphill. German positions offer perfect fields of fire. French artillery can't reach reverse slope positions. Infantry attacks without support. Machine guns cut them down. The pattern repeats endlessly. Trench foot epidemic spreads. Soldiers stand in water for days. Boots rot, feet decay. Walking becomes impossible. Fighting becomes impossible. Medical evacuation becomes impossible. Men die from foot rot before bullets find them. By April 25, the offensive has gained 4 miles of worthless ground. German strategic positions untouched. Their reserve lines intact. Their ability to continue fighting unchanged. French losses approach 100,000. The breakthrough is a massacre. French gains meaningless. Ground captured has no strategic value. German withdrawal planned in advance. French soldiers die for empty fields. German soldiers live to fight another day. Strategic thinking versus tactical thinking. Germans win through intelligence. French lose through ignorance. April 29. By the end of May 5th, the 6th Army had reached the outskirts of Allemant and taken 4,000 prisoners. By May 10th, 28,500 prisoners and 187 guns had been taken by the French armies. These numbers hide the cost. Every prisoner costs 50 French casualties. Every gun costs 100 French lives. Victory measured in enemy equipment captured. Defeat measured in French blood spilled. German prisoners interrogated reveal defensive strategy. Elastic defense. Trading space for time. Preserving strength for counterattack. Strategic withdrawal planned months in advance. French offensive anticipated and prepared for. Germans win by losing ground. French lose by gaining ground. French public relations emphasize captured equipment. Newspapers report guns seized. Prisoners taken. Territory occupied. Casualties hidden. Victory claimed. Reality ignored. Public opinion manipulated. Truth becomes casualty of war. May 3rd, Nivelle is dismissed. General Philippe Pétain takes command. The offensive officially ends. Final casualties. 187,000 French casualties and 163,000 German casualties. Territory gained. Negligible. Strategic objectives achieved. None. Promises kept. None. Trust in French command. Shattered. Nivelle's dismissal comes too late. Damage done. Trust broken. Faith lost. Soldiers learn commanders lie. Promises mean nothing. Casualties are acceptable to those who don't pay them. Military hierarchy loses moral authority. The mutinies begin immediately. May 3rd. 16th Infantry Regiment at Missy-aux-Bois. Morning roll call reveals 107 men missing. They haven't deserted. They haven't fled. They simply refuse to return to the front lines. Sergeants report the men sitting in their billets, playing cards, writing letters, singing songs. "We will defend France," Corporal Auguste Morin tells his captain. "We will not attack Germany." The distinction matters. This isn't cowardice. These men fought at Verdun. They held at the Somme. They charged at Chemin des Dames. They bled for France. They killed for France. They watched friends die for France. But they will not march into machine gun fire for promises they know are lies. Morin's service record shows 18 months continuous combat, wounded twice, decorated 3 times, promoted for valor under fire. Company commander trusts him. Battalion commander respects him. Regiment commander fears him. His influence spreads. May 4th. The mutiny spreads. 2nd Battalion, 18th Infantry Regiment. Men refuse direct orders to move up to assault positions. Major Charles Debony confronts his soldiers. "France requires your duty," he declares. Private Louis Chotant stands from the ranks. "France requires we live," he replies, "not die for nothing." Chotant served at Verdun for 7 months, survived German gas attacks, held positions under constant bombardment, charged German trenches 6 times, killed Germans in hand-to-hand combat. His courage is unquestioned. His judgment is respected. His rebellion is contagious. The mathematics of rebellion are precise. Mutinies erupted in the 9th Division, 158th Division, 5th Division, and 1st Cavalry Division by May 28th. More troops of the 5th, 6th, 13th, 35th, 43rd, 62nd, 77th, and 170th Divisions mutinied by the end of May, resulting in revolts in 21 divisions. Not random indiscipline, not panic, calculated resistance, soldiers who understand military tactics better than their generals, men who recognize suicide when ordered to commit it. In 1917, a record 27,000 French soldiers defected. Military intelligence tracks mutiny progression. Geographic spread follows railway lines. Unit-to-unit contact spreads rebellion. Letters home carry revolutionary messages. Leave periods spread ideas. Mutiny becomes epidemic following communication patterns. May 5th, 128th Infantry Regiment, soldiers refuse to board trains to the front. They don't run. They don't hide. They stand on the platform singing revolutionary songs. Military police surround them. The soldiers don't resist arrest. They sing louder. Train stations become political theaters. Soldiers make speeches. Crowds gather. Civilians listen. Revolutionary ideas spread beyond military. Mutiny becomes political movement. Military rebellion becomes civilian inspiration. May 6th. 20th Infantry Regiment. Soldiers seize the regimental treasury. Not for personal gain, to prevent officers from abandoning the unit. They elect representatives. They draft demands. Better food. Regular leave. Realistic objectives. No more impossible attacks. These are citizen soldiers. They negotiate like citizens. The demands are reasonable. Adequate rations. Clean water. Medical supplies. 7 days leave every 4 months instead of every 8. No attacks without artillery preparation. No advances without realistic objectives. Basic humanity applied to military service. Military treasury seizure prevents officer corruption. Regimental funds used for soldier welfare. Food purchases. Medical supplies. Family allotments. Money serves soldiers instead of officers. Revolutionary economics in military context. The authorities panic. General Pétain issues orders. Restore discipline. Use force if necessary. Separate the rebels. Court-martial the leaders. Execute the examples. Break the resistance. Save the army. Win the war. The courts-martial begin immediately. Pétain understands mutiny differently than Nivelle. Not cowardice, not treason. Breakdown of trust between commanders and commanded. Military crisis requiring military solution. Political crisis requiring political solution. Comprehensive approach needed. May 7th. 3rd Colonial Regiment. 2,000 soldiers participated. A rare large-scale act of defiance, as most rebel groups remained under 200 men. Officers attempt to address the men. Soldiers shout responses. Murderer. Blood drinker. Death to him? Rank insignia are torn from uniforms. Military hierarchy collapses. Colonial regiment mutiny spreads to metropolitan units. Imperial troops influence European troops. Military racism backfires. Exploited soldiers unite across racial lines. Common suffering creates common cause. Solidarity transcends ethnicity. May 8th, 4th Infantry Division. Soldiers establish alternative command structure. Elected representatives. Democratic decision-making. Collective leadership. Revolutionary military organization. Authority from consent, not commission. Legitimacy from competence, not rank. Alternative command structure works effectively. Better discipline than officer-commanded units. Superior logistics organization. More effective defensive preparations. Democratic military leadership proves competence. Revolutionary organization demonstrates efficiency. Captain Marie-Louis Courtois, military prosecutor, presides over the first trials. Toul military prison, May 8th. 12 men from the 20th Regiment charged with mutiny. The evidence is overwhelming. They refused orders, they encouraged others, they threatened officers. The penalty is death. But something strange happens. The soldiers defend themselves. They present their case, service records spanning years, decorations for valor, wounds received in battle, letters from families thanking them for defending France. These aren't cowards. These aren't traitors. These are men who fought until fighting became meaningless slaughter. Defense arguments focus on military competence. Officers fail tactical tests. Orders violate military doctrine. Attacks ignore terrain analysis. Casualties exceed acceptable limits. Professional military judgment supports mutiny. Court faces difficult choice. Execute heroes or admit command incompetence. The courts hear testimony. Sergeant Paul Dumont, veteran of 18 months continuous frontline service. I killed Germans at Verdun. I killed Germans at the Somme. I killed Germans at Chemin des Dames. How many Germans must I kill before France understands killing Germans doesn't win wars? Strategy wins wars. Tactics win wars. Not courage, not sacrifice, not death. Dumont's tactical analysis impresses court. Professional military knowledge superior to many officers. Strategic understanding exceeds command level. Court-martial becomes military education. Defendants teach prosecutors about war. Role reversal complete. May 10th, the first executions. 5 soldiers from the 20th Regiment, shot at dawn in Toul courtyard. They refuse blindfolds. They refuse to kneel. They stand at attention facing the firing squad. 12 rifles, 12 bullets, 5 bodies. The mutiny continues. Execution details spread through army. Heroes die with dignity. Cowards give orders safely. Moral contrast clear. Martyrdom increases rebellion. Death creates inspiration. Sacrifice demonstrates commitment. Executions backfire. The executions accomplish nothing. More regiments refuse orders. More soldiers elect representatives. More demands arrive at headquarters. The cycle accelerates. Rebellion breeds rebellion. Fear breeds resistance. Death breeds defiance. Military psychology works against authority. Punishment increases resistance. Death creates martyrs. Martyrs inspire followers. Followers become leaders. Leadership spreads revolution. Authority loses control through attempting control. May 11th, 74th Infantry. Regiment, soldiers block railway lines. Troop trains cannot reach the front. Military supplies pile up in stations. The war effort slows. German intelligence notices reduced French activity. Opportunity beckons. Railway blockade demonstrates mutiny's strategic impact. Military logistics depend on soldier cooperation. Soldiers control transportation. Transportation controls strategy. Strategy controls war outcomes. Mutiny affects war through logistics. May 12th, 102nd Infantry Regiment. Men march to divisional headquarters singing the Internationale. They demand to speak with generals, not their officers. Not their colonels, the generals who sent them to die. Face-to-face conversation, soldier to soldier, man to man. International Socialist anthem adopted by French soldiers. Class warfare replaces national warfare. Workers, solidarity transcends military hierarchy. Revolutionary ideology provides framework for military rebellion. Political analysis explains military failure. The generals refuse. The soldiers camp outside headquarters. They cook meals. They write letters. They sing songs. They wait. Military police surround them. The soldiers ignore the police. They sing louder songs. Peaceful resistance demonstrates moral superiority. Violence comes from authority. Discipline comes from rebels. Order maintained by those questioning orders. Authority challenged by those maintaining authority. Contradiction highlights system failure. May 13th, 4th Colonial Regiment. Soldiers refuse to salute officers. Military courtesy ends. Rank loses meaning. Orders go unobeyed. Chain of command shatters. The army becomes a mob armed with rifles. Military customs become political statements. Salute implies respect. Respect requires earning. Earning requires competence. Competence absent. Respect withheld. Salute refused. Military culture collapses through military failure. May 14th. Artillery units join the mutiny. Gunners refuse to fire support missions. Shells stay in magazines. Batteries go silent. Infantry attacking without artillery support die faster. The rebellion spreads through combined arms. Artillery mutiny has strategic implications. Infantry cannot advance without fire support. Attacks become impossible. Defensive positions become untenable. Military operations cease. War stops through military rebellion. Power shifts to enlisted men. May 15th, 46th Infantry Regiment. This period, from May 20 to June 10 Ballers, marks the peak of the mutinies. Soldiers block the road to prevent relief troops from reaching the front, not with weapons. With their bodies, they lie across the path, arms linked, eyes closed. Pass over us, they tell the arriving regiment. We will not move. Pass over us or turn back. The relief regiment turns back. Physical resistance becomes moral statement. Bodies become barriers. Human shields protect human life. Passive resistance achieves active results. Nonviolence demonstrates power. Moral force exceeds military force. Gandhi tactics in European warfare. May 16th. Medical Corps personnel refuse to treat wounded officers. Combat casualties only. Officers can die from their wounds. Soldiers cannot. The distinction matters. Class warfare inside military medicine. Medical mutiny violates Hippocratic Oath. Professional ethics versus class consciousness. Doctors choose sides. Officers lose medical care. Soldiers receive preferential treatment. Revolutionary medicine in military context. Healing becomes political act. General Pétain realizes force alone won't work. He changes strategy, meet some demands, improve conditions, grant more leave, promise tactical changes, but execute the ringleaders, show mercy and strength, carrot and stick, compromise and terror. Pétain's dual approach demonstrates political sophistication. Military problem requires political solution. Rebels respond to justice, not force. Compromise acknowledges legitimate grievances. Execution maintains military discipline. Balance preserves army while addressing complaints. May 17th. Military intelligence reports German knowledge of the mutinies. Enemy preparations for offensive action. French weakness exposed. National survival at stake. The rebels might destroy France by saving French soldiers. German intelligence networks in France detect mutiny. Prisoner interrogations reveal French weakness. Aerial reconnaissance shows reduced French activity. Radio intercepts capture revolutionary communications. German General Staff considers immediate attack. May 18th, 110th Infantry Regiment. Soldiers elect their own officers. Democratic promotion, merit by vote. The men choose leaders they trust. Leaders they believe will keep them alive. Revolutionary military organization. Democratic military leadership proves effective. Elected officers demonstrate competence. Soldiers follow leaders they choose. Discipline improves under consensual authority. Military efficiency increases through military democracy. Revolutionary organization works better than traditional hierarchy. May 19th. Supply units refuse to deliver ammunition to offensive operations. Defensive supplies only. Food, medicine, construction materials. No shells for attacks. No bullets for advances. No tools for dying. Supply mutiny demonstrates tactical sophistication. Soldiers understand logistics. Ammunition enables attacks. Attacks cause casualties. Casualties serve no purpose. Purpose guides supply policy. Revolutionary quartermasters serve revolutionary strategy. May 20th. The largest court-martial begins. Verdun Military Tribunal. 43 men from 6 different regiments charged with collective mutiny. Military prosecutor Colonel Henri Boucher demands death for all defendants. The army must be saved, he argues. Discipline must be restored. Examples must be made. Mass court-martial demonstrates mutiny's scope. Multiple regiments involved. Coordinated resistance. Organized opposition. Systematic rebellion. Military prosecutor faces institutional crisis. Individual punishment cannot address collective problem. The trial lasts 6 days. Witnesses testify to courage under fire. Officers describe exemplary service. Chaplains speak of moral character. The evidence is contradictory. Heroes are traitors. Patriots are criminals. The defendants speak for themselves. Trial evidence confuses court. Heroes become criminals overnight. Patriots face execution. Service records contradict charges. Moral character exceeds legal definitions. Military law fails military reality. Justice becomes impossible. Corporal Francois Marty, veteran of 3 years frontline service. I joined to defend France. I fought to defend France. I will die to defend France, but I will not die for nothing. Show me how attacking German machine guns with rifles defends France. Show me how losing 187,000 men in 3 weeks defends France. Show me how promising victory and delivering death defends France. Marty's testimony captures mutiny's essence. Patriotism versus nationalism. Service versus obedience. Intelligence versus orders. Defense versus attack. Living for France versus dying for France. Logical argument defeats legal argument. The tribunal deliberates. Guilty verdicts for 38 defendants. 23 sentenced to death. 15 to prison. The condemned men show no emotion. They expected this. They chose this. They knew the price when they paid it. Court decisions reflect political pressure. Legal requirements versus military necessity. Justice versus discipline. Individual rights versus collective security. Judges face impossible choice. Someone must die to preserve system. Heroes become sacrifices. May 21st, engineer units join the mutiny. Bridge builders, road makers, tunnel diggers, infrastructure warfare stops. German positions cannot be approached. French positions cannot be fortified. Military construction ends. Engineer mutiny affects military operations. Movement requires infrastructure. Infrastructure requires engineers. Engineers refuse construction. Construction stops. Military movement stops. Strategic mobility ends. War becomes static through engineer rebellion. May 22nd. Communications personnel refuse to relay attack orders. Messages get lost. Radio operators go silent. Telephone lines suffer mysterious breaks. Orders cannot reach attacking units. Attacks cannot be coordinated. Military command structure collapses. Communication. Mutiny breaks command control. Orders require transmission. Transmission requires operators. Operators refuse cooperation. Cooperation ends. Command fails. Military hierarchy becomes meaningless. Authority loses voice. May 23rd. Transport units park their vehicles. Trucks refuse to start. Horses go lame. Supplies cannot move forward. Reinforcements cannot reach the front. Wounded cannot be evacuated. Military logistics fail. Transport mutiny stops military movement. Logistics depend on transportation. Transportation depends on drivers. Drivers refuse service. Service stops. Logistics fail. Military operations become impossible. War stops through transport rebellion. May 24th. Military police units refuse to arrest mutineers. They know these men. They fought beside these men. They trust these men. They won't shoot these men. Authority loses its enforcers. Military police mutiny eliminates enforcement. Discipline requires enforcement. Enforcement requires police. Police refuse duty. Duty becomes optional. Discipline disappears. Authority becomes powerless. Revolution succeeds through police sympathy. May 25th, intelligence sections share information with mutineers, German positions, attack plans, casualty estimates. Knowledge becomes power. Power enables resistance. Resistance preserves lives. Intelligence mutiny provides information to rebels. Military secrets become public knowledge. Classified information enables informed resistance. Knowledge empowers decision-making. Soldiers understand consequences. Resistance becomes rational. Intelligence serves intelligence. May 26th, 6 executions at Verdun. The condemned soldiers write letters home. Private Henri Lassalle to his mother. I die for France by French bullets. Remember, I lived for France by German bullets first. His letter survives in military archives. His grave does not. Execution letters become historical documents. Final words capture mutiny spirit. Heroes acknowledge sacrifice. Mothers receive explanations. French bullets kill French patriots. German bullets spare French heroes. Irony defines military justice. The executed men become martyrs, not for cowardice, for courage. The courage to refuse meaningless death. Their names spread through the ranks. Heroes who died twice for France. Once from German bullets, once from French bullets, martyrdom spreads revolution. Dead heroes inspire living soldiers. Sacrifice demonstrates commitment. Commitment justifies resistance. Resistance serves France. Service transcends obedience. Obedience becomes betrayal. May 27th. Cavalry units refuse reconnaissance missions. No scouts means no intelligence. No intelligence means no planning. No planning means no attacks. The war stops through military inaction. Cavalry mutiny blinds command. Military operations require information. Information requires reconnaissance. Reconnaissance requires cavalry. Cavalry refuses missions. Missions fail. Operations stop. Blindness defeats strategy. May 28th. Artillery observation posts abandon their positions. Gunners cannot see targets. Shells waste ammunition. Fire missions fail. Infantry advances without support. More French soldiers die for less ground gained. Artillery observation mutiny eliminates fire control. Accurate fire requires observation. Observation requires observers. Observers abandon positions. Positions go empty. Fire becomes inaccurate. Artillery becomes ineffective. Infantry dies alone. May 29th. Quartermaster units distribute supplies equally. Officers receive same rations as privates. Same equipment, same accommodations. Military hierarchy dissolves in shared hardship and common cause. Quartermaster mutiny creates equality. Military rank means privilege. Privilege requires enforcement. Enforcement fails. Privileges disappear. Equality emerges. Hierarchy collapses. Revolution succeeds through supply control. May 30th. Signal units broadcast mutiny updates. Radio networks carry rebellion. Telegraph lines spread resistance. Communication technology serves revolution. Modern warfare enables modern mutiny. Signal mutiny spreads revolution. Communication networks carry rebellion. Technology serves insurgency. Modern warfare backfires. Advanced communications enable coordinated resistance. Progress serves revolution. June arrives. The mutinies peak. 54 divisions report discipline problems. 200,000 soldiers involved directly or indirectly. The French army teeters on collapse. German intelligence learns of the crisis. Ludendorff considers immediate offensive action. The war hangs in balance. Mutiny reaches maximum scope. Half the French army affected. Military collapse threatens. German opportunity emerges. War hangs in balance. French Revolution threatens Allied victory. Internal enemy more dangerous than external enemy. But Pétain's reforms take effect. Better food arrives. Leave schedules improve. Impossible attacks end. Soldiers notice changes. Not everything. Not enough, but something. The rebellion slowly fades. Reform strategy succeeds. Reasonable demands receive reasonable responses. Soldiers respond to justice. Justice restores discipline. Discipline preserves army. Army continues fighting. War continues. If you value documented World War I history like this, subscribe. It's the best way to support our work. Also, comment from which city you're hearing this from. This script is researched and factual, using sources from Jacobin Magazine's analysis published February 22, 2022, and the Historian Academic Journal published November 1959. Now back to the information. June 1st, first successful French defensive action since the mutinies began. German probe repulsed. French soldiers fight when fighting makes sense. They die when dying serves purpose. They live when living serves France. Successful defense demonstrates reform effectiveness. Soldiers fight competently led forces. Competent leadership earns soldier respect. Respect enables discipline. Discipline creates effectiveness. Effectiveness achieves victory. June 2nd. Artillery units return to action. Defensive fire missions only. No support for attacks. No waste of shells. No contribution to slaughter. Selective service for selective objectives. Artillery return demonstrates conditional obedience. Service for defense. Resistance to offense. Rational application of military force. Professional judgment guides professional service. Competence replaces compliance. June 3rd. Supply units resume normal operations. Food and medicine flow freely. Ammunition for defense only. Construction materials for fortifications. Military logistics serve military sense. Logistics restoration enables military operations. Supplies serve legitimate military purposes. Defensive needs met. Offensive needs ignored. Supply policy reflects strategic priorities. Revolutionary quartermasters serve reformed strategy. June 4th. Medical personnel treat all casualties equally. Officers and enlisted, French and German, human suffering recognizes no rank. Medical ethics transcend military hierarchy. Medical service restoration maintains professional ethics. Human care transcends military rank. Professional standards exceed political considerations. Medical revolution preserves humanitarian values. Military medicine serves human medicine. June 5th. Communication units relay defensive orders promptly. Attack orders suffer delays. Technical difficulties mysteriously appear and disappear. Military technology serves military wisdom. Communication restoration enables defensive coordination. Selective cooperation with legitimate authority. Technical sabotage of illegitimate orders. Professional judgment guides professional service. Military wisdom exceeds military orders. June 6th. Intelligence sections provide accurate information. German positions. Defensive capabilities. Attack vulnerabilities. Knowledge serves survival. Information enables victory through competence rather than courage. Intelligence cooperation resumes selectively. Information serves defensive purposes. Offensive intelligence withheld. Knowledge enables rational decisions. Rational decisions preserve life. Life serves France better than death. June 7th. Military police restore selective discipline. Mutinous behavior for offensive operations remains unpunished. Cowardly behavior during defensive operations brings swift justice. Discipline serves purpose. Military police return with modified authority. Legitimate discipline enforced. Illegitimate discipline ignored. Revolutionary justice applied. Professional standards maintained. Military law serves military necessity. June 8th. Mass arrests begin. Pétain court-martialed over 3,400 soldiers, with 554 receiving death sentences, though only 26 of the death sentences were carried out. The final accounting reveals careful justice. Execution for leadership. Prison for participation. Pardons for followers. Mass trials demonstrate state response. Selective justice applied. Leadership punished. Followers pardoned. Revolutionary hierarchy acknowledged. Proportional punishment applied. Justice serves order restoration. The pattern emerges. He held 3,400 courts-martial in which 554 mutineers were sentenced to death and 26 were executed. Selective enforcement, symbolic punishment, practical mercy. The army survives through balanced justice. Statistical analysis reveals strategy, minimal executions, maximum deterrence, symbolic punishment, practical forgiveness, military necessity. Guides, legal process, justice serves military efficiency. June 9th, German offensive preparations detected. French defensive preparations begin. Mutinous soldiers report for duty. They will defend France. They will not attack Germany. The distinction saves both the army and the nation. German threat reunites French army. External enemy overcomes internal division. Patriotism transcends revolution. Defense justifies service. Legitimate military purpose restores military discipline. France unites against Germany. June 10th. The mutinies officially end. Discipline returns. The army holds. The Germans don't attack. The Americans arrive. The war continues. But something fundamental has changed. French soldiers will fight. They will die. They will charge German positions. But only when it makes sense. Only when it matters. Only when their commanders prove they deserve the sacrifice. Mutiny resolution transforms French army. Conditional obedience replaces absolute obedience. Professional judgment guides military service. Competent leadership earns soldier loyalty. Reformed army proves more effective than traditional army. According to official French records, of those court-martialed for mutiny, 3,427 were found guilty. More than 554 were sentenced to death, but in the end, only 26 faced the firing squad. Pétain, the pragmatist, understood that mass executions would only create martyrs and shatter the army's fragile morale beyond repair. The rest were sent to penal colonies. A slower death, but one hidden from public view. The mutiny was not a failure. It was a negotiation, conducted with rifles and revolutionary songs instead of diplomatic notes. The common soldier of France renegotiated the terms of his own sacrifice. He would still die for his country, but he would no longer be wasted for a general's ambition. He would still advance, but only when the artillery had done its job. He would still fight, but only for objectives that made military sense. This new French army, cynical and battle-wise, was paradoxically more formidable. It was an army that thought, that judged, that had looked into the abyss of its own command's incompetence and refused to jump. It was this army that would hold the line against the final, desperate German offensives in 1918, bending but never breaking. When the Americans arrived, they found allies who were exhausted and scarred, but who had learned a profound truth about modern war that no training manual could teach. For decades, the story of the mutinies was buried in classified files, a chapter of national shame. But the lesson endured in the trenches. It was the story of ordinary men who, when faced with the madness of their leaders, found the extraordinary courage to disobey. They proved that the ultimate loyalty is not to an order, but to the nation that order is meant to serve. And sometimes, the most patriotic act is to refuse to die for nothing.